people with Alzheimer's disease almost always have some detectable instance of insulin resistance, if not full-on diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Now, I will say personally, I don't like the term type 3 diabetes because it makes it sound like it's a whole new version of diabetes. To say it more succinctly and accurately, it is simply insulin resistance of the brain. And the brain is a very hungry organ. It is in what I teach is a trinity of high metabolic rate organs, that there are 3 organs in the body whose metabolic rate is so high that it just really sets it apart from everything else. And the brain is one of them. The brain has a very high metabolic rate. So this is a very hungry organ that needs a lot of energy all the time. But the brain is unique in that it primarily will only use 2 fuel sources, and I've mentioned them, namely glucose and ketones. But glucose, in that section of the brain that gets compromised with Alzheimer's disease, the glucose can't just come straight in. It needs someone to open the door for it. And that is insulin, of course, just like we described with the muscle cell, where in order for the glucose to go into the muscle, insulin had to come and knock on the door, if you will. And then the muscle, being a polite, responsive host, would open and allow the glucose to come in. The brain is similar, that in that section of the brain, it has doors that need insulin. It's locked until insulin comes and opens them. So even though glucose levels may be high in the blood, like in type 2 diabetes, you would think, well, the brain can just get all the glucose at once. And yet it cannot, because it has insulin regulating the entrance of the glucose. And if the brain is insulin resistant, there's not enough glucose coming in.